Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into the world of sterling silver. You know, if you've ever glanced at a piece of jewelry and seen those tiny little numbers and wondered, what on earth does that mean? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it.
Right? Maybe you've got an old set of spoons from your grandmother. Or you're just looking at the back of a ring you wear every day, and there it is, a tiny little stamp. It might say 925. So what is that? Is it some kind of secret code? A model number? Turns out it's actually the key to understanding exactly what you're holding in your hand.
So that little number is telling you that you've got sterling silver. But here's the thing, that doesn't mean it's 100% pure silver. Nope, it's actually an alloy, which is just a fancy word for a metal mixture. Sterling silver is 92.5% pure silver that's been blended with 7.5% of other metals, and that's usually copper. This little recipe is what makes it strong enough to last.
And that brings us to the most important part of this whole thing, that magic number itself, the 925 standard. You could say this is the universal mark of quality for real-deal sterling silver.
So when you see that 925 stamp, think of it as a direct promise. It's saying that for every 1,000 parts of metal in that piece, 925 of them are pure, shiny silver. The other 75 parts? Well, that's the copper or other metals added to give it strength. It's a really simple, elegant way to guarantee you're getting what you paid for.
That's a great question, isn't it? I mean, if silver is so valuable, why would you want to dilute it? Why not just make everything out of 99.9% pure silver? Well, the answer really just comes down to practicality.
The reason is pretty simple. Pure silver is incredibly soft. I mean, you could probably bend a pure silver ring with just your hands. It would get scratched and dented in no time. So, by adding just a little bit of a stronger metal, like copper, you get the absolute best of both worlds. All the beautiful shine of silver, but with the toughness you need for jewelry and forks and spoons that you can actually use every day.
Okay, but that 925 stamp is really just scratching the surface. The world of silver markings, or what are called hallmarks, is so full of history and variety. They can tell you a much, much deeper story.
So especially in North America, you're going to see these variations all the time. Whether it's the number 925, sometimes with a little dot in front of it, or the actual word sterling, which is sometimes shortened to STG or stir, they all mean the exact same thing. You are looking at an item that meets that 92.5% silver standard.
Now this is where it gets really fun. Once you start looking at silver from other parts of the world, especially older, antique pieces, you get into this fascinating world of pictures and symbols. These aren't just quality marks, they're like little historical fingerprints. They can tell you where a piece was made, who the maker was, and sometimes even the exact year it was certified.
For instance, if you see a tiny walking lion, the famous lion passant, you know your piece is from England and is guaranteed the sterling standard for centuries. The head of the goddess Minerva is a classic French mark, and Germany's crown and crescent moon tells you it's at least 80% pure silver. It's amazing. Each tiny little picture tells a huge story.
All right, so owning silver is fantastic, but let's be real. It does bring up a couple of practical questions, like what do you do about that dark stuff that starts to form on it? And more importantly, how can you be sure you have the real thing?
First things first, if your silver is tarnishing, getting that dark, kind of blackish layer on it, do not panic. That is totally supposed to happen. It's just a natural chemical reaction between the silver and the sulfur that's in the air. Honestly, tarnish is often a good sign. It's proof that it's real silver, because stainless steel and cheaper metals just don't do that.
Okay, this is the big one, right? How can you tell for sure that you have solid sterling silver and not just some cheap base metal like brass that's been coated with a super thin layer of silver? Well, here are 3 really quick checks you can do. First up, the magnet test. Sterling silver is not magnetic, so if a magnet snaps right onto it, that's a huge red flag. Second, look for wear and tear. On a plated piece, you might see a different color metal, like a yellowish brass, peeking through on the edges or high points where the plating has worn off. And finally, check the mark itself. Be on the lookout for stamps like EPNS, that stands for electroplated nickel silver, or any stamp that just straight up says silver plate.
So let's kind of wrap this all up. When you look at that tiny stamp on a piece of silver, it's so much more than just a technical detail. It's really a complete story, just in miniature.
So here it is, your final checklist. It's this simple. First, look for that 925 or sterling mark. Second, remember it should not be magnetic. And third, don't be scared of a little tarnish. It's just a sign that it's authentic.
You know, at the end of the day, these marks are a connection.
They're a link to our past. They're a guarantee not just to the metal's quality, but a link to the time, the place, and even the person who actually made it. It really does transform a simple object into a piece of history that you can hold right in your hand.
So, the next time you pick up a piece of silver, get in there, take a closer look. Now that you know how to read the signs, you can start to unlock its secrets. So go check what stories are hidden in your silver. Thanks so much for watching.